The brand new dungeon Spire of the Watcher is home to a few decent new weapons and shiny new armor pieces. Yee cowboy hat. However, for the solo player, it may seem daunting to attempt this without the best exotic armor, weapons, or mods. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can solo and possibly flawless this dungeon on any class with regularly crafted weapons and commonly found exotics without needing any special charge of light mods or elemental will mods. In fact, I did attempt this solo flawlessly on my Hunter and Titan. Was blown up by a supplicant due to a mistake. And yes, I know.
Ironic.
To ensure this video can withstand the test of time, I'm not using any seasonal mods, which if you haven't, please use them. And if you want to know why this is the best season to do dungeons, check out this short video here. With all that said out of the way, let's get a move on. All builds will be linked in the description below. Before the first encounter, we have to open the doors to the dungeon. So we gotta kill the Minotaur, pick up the Electrician buff, and connect the wires. A great tip for the opening area is to never finish any of the 4 nodes until you are ready to prime them all. The reason for this is so no supplicant spawns and potentially ruin your flawless run. By following the path I take on screen, you will ensure that the only danger to your run in this area are harpies and goblins. As you can see on the screen, I doubled the playback speed. I do this a lot throughout the video since I don't feel it necessary to show you the full length of the clips, especially since this mechanism is repeated throughout the entire dungeon. However, I wanted to include the correct path to take so that at a quick glance, you guys can get the rough idea. We're not done yet though. The descent in this area is rather tricky, as you may end up dying upon reaching the bottom. A great way to avoid this is by using a sword swing just before you reach the bottom to halt movement. Credits to ManoDestra, which was where I first saw it. Hunters and Warlocks may use Shatter Dive or Icarus Dash respectively to halt movement. Follow the way on screen to traverse this massive jumping puzzle. I will show you where the hidden chests are, but if you want to check out the collectibles, I'll put a link in the description to another YouTuber who shows it better. If you have a sword with Eager Edge equipped, never swing forward when there are enemies in front of you, especially harpies, because you may accidentally track onto them and ruin your run. While the hidden chest clip plays on the left, continue onwards and take the lift up, and then proceed as shown on the screen to the first encounter. Upon arriving at the first encounter, you will see a repeat of the opening area with the added risk of falling off. You need to complete 2 nodes a total of 3 times, 1 for each level. Like I mentioned earlier, it's best to avoid completely filling out 1 node as this will trigger supplicants to spawn if you do so. Use your movement based exotics if you lack confidence with jumping and continue. As of now, with no third party sites for maps, as each climb makes it increasingly confusing to complete, try your best to follow the directions shown on screen. If you feel the encounter becoming too hectic, take time off to kill some ads before going forward. After the last 2 nodes are done, get your rewards before continuing with another upward climb to the next encounter. And upon reaching this next area, you will be greeted with the delightful sight of a giant harpy eating a minotaur.
That's nasty.
The encounter here is divided into 4 sections, which is where you have to fill 4 fuel cells while using the electrician buff to connect the wires again. The wires start from the inside and progressively move outwards towards the ends of each of the 4 platforms. Range harpies will spawn to cause you problems, so it is advisable to kill them. Usually I only kill them prior to activating the last fuel cell, which prevents them from respawning. One neat trick I have for the solo player is that you can hit all 4 of the nodes at the center of the map simultaneously to grant you a slightly longer duration electrician buff. After all, this encounter, and by extension this dungeon, is based off physical and mental endurance, so you should not be rushing into anything and instead take things slowly. Upon activating the last fuel cell, the boss travels slowly towards you. Here, having Wither Horde and a linear fusion rifle are excellent for dealing damage. However, before that, the boss has many red eyes you have to shoot before he becomes vulnerable. This is where high rate of fire weapons like SMGs come into play by blasting down the eyes, allowing for a quick damage phase. Note here that the time you take to break the eyes is inversely proportional to the damage phase duration, meaning to say that breaking them faster gives you more time for damage, and the reverse is also true. As you deal damage, the boss slowly retreats to the middle of the map. After reaching the middle and glowing red, he will unleash a devastating knockback wave which deals more damage the closer you are to him. So ensure that you are sufficiently far and not stuck mid-jump, else you will be sent flying off. After that, it is a repeat of the encounter. Repeat this as many times as you need until the boss is done. The next encounter is the final encounter, but before that you have to descend the tower you just climbed, so make your way down slowly. As you descend, you will see rooms with red wires instead of the yellow ones you have been seeing up until now. 3 such rooms exist in total. Red wires have no order in which they can be shot, but they have a time duration of about 10 seconds after the first wire is shot, so you have to be quick. So to make this as simple as possible, look around and plan out where the wires are before shooting. Clearing this room lets you descend further. This opens up what I will call the ventilation shaft, and there are 2 in total. The simplest way down is to let yourself fall between the blades shortly after the blade passes your character. Try not to jump within the first second of passing the fan, as you may hit your head. Players who have experienced 0 hour may know the shortcut of hugging the hole in the wall while falling through the fans. While that may work, it often requires slight jumping during the descent, hence why I don't advocate for it. But if you can do it, by all means. Also, in the 3rd room of the connecting wires, there is a hidden chest under the floor, so be sure to grab it before meeting the boss. This is the last encounter, and it starts the second you shoot the boss, so take your time and switch your loadouts. Warlocks can still use linear fusion rifles due to the safety of Well of Radiance. However, Hunters and Titans may want to think of rocket launchers instead. Wither Horde and SMGs still work wonders here, so keep them equipped. Some things to note before you start is that the giant chicken boss will be chasing you around the room. Be ready for it to pounce on you when in range, so keep your distance. Additionally, supplicants will be spawning and dashing around waiting to trap you. So if you don't already have 100 resilience, do it now. And if you're wondering how I failed my Warlock run, that was because I didn't realize I was on 80 resilience, which without any special mods is a one-shot from a supplicant. So hopefully you can benefit from my suffering. With that addressed, let's talk about the encounter. First, 2 Hydras will spawn on the left and right. Make quick work of them, and 2 Minotaurs will spawn shortly after. Kill them and take the electrician buff to shoot the red wires around the room to open the giant blast door. Follow the path on screen to avoid direct line of sight with the boss and supplicants. This can be done when starting on either side, but credit to Mano again for this tip. When the blast door is open, the familiar yellow wires open and you have to connect wires from the main room to the reactor room. During this time, supplicants will spawn and the chicken boss will chase you, so take time alternating between wires and disengaging from enemy aggro to make sure that you are safe. After connecting the 2 wires to the reactor room, bait the boss to enter it. Normally they will follow you, but there is a small chance they lose aggro, so bear that in mind. When the boss enters the reactor room, an alert will be released. Take this opportunity to leave the room, but try to avoid supplicants. If your attrition buff is less than 10 seconds, kill another Minotaur quickly to refresh the buff. Shortly thereafter, the red wires you shot earlier will require you to reactivate them. Shoot them, and when you are successful, the blast door closes. Ensure all your weapons are reloaded, and when the doors open, unload on the chicken. Super damage is king here, so unload on the boss until you have nothing left. Note that the boss will continue to chase you, so it's advisable to quickly disengage when the boss gets uncomfortably close to you. Usually when he goes past the blast doors, I start to move to the left or right to give myself some breathing room. But if you are confident that you can delay your disengagement to deal maximum damage, by all means. The damage phase ends when the boss charges his shields again. This would be a simple matter of rinse and repeat for as many times as you need to. With that endless persistence, you too will be able to slay this chicken and complete the Spire of the Watcher dungeon solo on any class. Thank you all for watching, and if this video has helped you, do leave a like and subscribe. I appreciate it as always. Take care